It's K-Poi 105.9, the Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock, the Workforce Afternoon. Dave Lawrence with you. And a big mahalo for being part of my show today. We are pleased to welcome to the air one of rock's most important guitarists and songwriters who performs tomorrow night at the Blaisdell Arena here in Honolulu with his band. It's going to be a monster show. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster. You can get them there at the door. A great honor to welcome them back to town and welcome for my first time ever speaking with him, the great Neal Schon of Journey. Aloha, Neal.
How are you, Dave?
Very good, man. Thank you so much for being my guest.
No problem.
It's very exciting to be welcoming Journey to Honolulu. This is a city that clearly loves Journey. How aware are you of the immense popularity you have here in town?
Really until what we played there a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago you did 2 nights.
Center, and we did 2 shows. And until we actually played, I had no idea if people were still into it. Obviously, they came and they showed up, and they were. So this is why we're coming back. We had a very strong year this year, just attendance-wise and playing-wise. I think like the band right now is actually in peak form and sounding better than it's ever sounded. So should be a great show, and definitely looking forward to getting into Hawaii.
Man, it's I can't emphasize enough. I'm not being from here, and I was moved out here from Boston, where I'd been for a decade with BCN and ZLX, and the wave of Journey enthusiasm here is unlike anything that I've ever experienced in any mainland city, and I'm wondering, is it something that you have been aware of, your particular popular? I mean, you just sort of indicated that it kind of caught you off guard when you returned in 2002, how big you guys were here. My understanding is you did your second ever gig as Journey back in 1974 at the Crater Festival here.
That's right, yeah.
Do you remember that?
That used to be an annual thing for us, as well as, the days that I went back to playing with Santana in the 70s, from 70 through 72. I used to always play the Crater with them.
So you've done that many times.
Yeah, it was an annual thing for us for a long time, and then I think they just stopped having them.
Yeah. But you remember that, and that was really your second. You had just done your debut gig. Was it Winterland the night before?
Winterland was the night before. That's right.
Man, some impressive debut gigs, Neal. You've been working it. And did Journey return often to Honolulu before your famous 5-night run of the late '80s?
No, that was the last time that we had played in Honolulu. Was I believe in '86.
Okay.
And that was. I remember the gig well because after we played the 5 nights here, 5 nights at the Blaisdell, we were supposed to continue and do another 2 months on tour, and that's when our singer at the time just decided that it was like time to take a break. And we were like, okay, whatever. And so we thought we'd be off for about a year or so, and it turned into 10 years of hiatus, and at that point, we all moved on and did a lot of different musical endeavors, and I've been working on a lot of solo stuff. Still to this point, I have 2 new records coming out by the first of the year. Jonathan and I and Dean did Bad English with John Waite.
Sure.
Had a lot of success with that, and, had a lot of, differences in musical direction that we wanted to go, so that soon broke up after we did our second record. And, just about that time, I went to Jonathan's, and I said, I think we should try to put this band back together. And, he agreed with me, and Ross agreed, and we just, started rebuilding the band, and that's what we've been doing for the last 7 years. We're actually going on 8 years now with the same lineup, with Steve Algeri on vocals and Dean Castronova on drums, and it's getting stronger and stronger, and our fans have definitely, just welcomed them both. And we have a whole new fan base out there as well. In this last 7 years, I look out in the audience every night, and I'm seeing a lot of young fans. We've got like a whole new generation that are coming to our shows right now.
Absolutely, and I saw that in 2002 when you guys were here, and commenting on the lineup of the band. I mean, it was remarkable the way those songs sounded. I mean, you're not kidding. You guys have been working hard and have been very busy over the last 7 years. with Steve Algieri. Is that how you pronounce it?
Algieri, yeah.
Algieri, and he joined. Was it the? I remember because we were working. The Armageddon record had his. Was that his very first cut with you guys?
That was the first cut that we ever did in the studio. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like summer of '98, and he's just been. He sounds so he's like the perfect match for the band. How did you find him?
I'd heard him in this other band. He was in a band called Tall Stories around the time that I was in Bad English, and they got quite a bit of airplay on this one single that they stuck out off that record. And every time I heard it, I thought to myself, wow, this guy, if we were ever to start up the band again and do it without Steve Perry, I said, I think this would be the right guy. And lo and behold, one of my friends that moved out from New York is a guitar player friend of mine that lives, in the city where I live. I asked him, I said, do you know where I can reach this guy? Because I knew he was from New York. And he goes, yeah, I got his number right here. So he hands me the number, and I call him up, and it was just about that fast.
So he's a New York kid?
Yeah.
New York City, or?
Yeah, Brooklyn.
Damn, dig that. I like that.
Yeah, and, just this year, our drummer, Dean, started lead singing on stage with us about a year and a half ago. And now he's singing, like 3 to 4 different songs in the set, and he's got an amazing voice. Everybody in the band is lead singing a song now in the set.
Dig that.
Yeah, we've just stretched it out. We've turned more into a band, which is really cool. And, like I said, it's jamming right now. The playing is just getting better and better. I think that, we sound somewhat like what we did in the very beginning, where we were known as a jam band, and we encompass all the, our hits and everything else, and we, play those in a different way live and stretch them out a bit and just with a bit more fire. So it's going to be a good jamming concert.
No, you got, and you're absolutely right about the interpretation of some of the classics, and on that classic tip, Neal, let me throw down some classic Journey, and then we'll come back and talk some more and wrap it up. Is that cool?
Okay, bro.
Neal Schon from Journey, my very special guest. Tickets are on sale now for Journey tomorrow at the Blaisdell Arena. Get them at Ticketmaster or get them at the box office. And we have classic Journey and one of the most requested songs here on KPOI 105.9, The Big Kahuna, Lights. Lights on the Workforce Afternoon. Journey, KPOI 105.9, The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock. Dave Lawrence with you. Journey are tomorrow night at the Blaisdell. Tickets are on sale now. Grab some tickets. Join us at the show. I am honored to have their legendary guitarist, Neal Schon, as my guest. Neal, you are the man for being on the show. Mahalo, brother.
Thank you.
Really do appreciate it. And thinking of that tune, one time I was alone at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, and it was like the end of the day, and I was just kind of hanging out there watching. I guess I was looking over towards the Golden Gate Bridge, and for some reason, probably the right reason, that song just came into my mind and like settled down. The Lights song settled down into my mind. Is that the right setting for that?
It definitely is. I mean, it was going to be. It is one of the theme songs for San Francisco. It was, in the '80s, and I believe it still is. And I think Tony Bennett, was the only one that they had a vote. And I think Tony Bennett beat us out by about 20 votes before I left my heart in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And so, he beat us out, but God bless him. He's still kicking. He sounds great.
Yeah, well, I think it's I mean, you guys can, I think, share the title of the song of the city, because that song, because Lights, man, that is the tune of the city. And I don't think I ever really appreciated it that much, as much, I should say, until then, walking along right there. And it was almost as if I could envision the setting it was written in.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was written about San Francisco
and that Bay Area scene right there.
Yeah.
What was it that led you, Neal, along with Greg Raleigh, to leave Santana to form Journey?
It was the band had really reached like sort of the end. We were like sort of like nobody was getting along for one. There were a lot of drug problems in the band. I think was probably the major reason that the band did break up was over drugs. And, and everybody had their different flavor of what they wanted to do. I was pretty much a kid, and I was just like, dumbfounded by the whole thing. But, it was a great opportunity for me to play with Carlos and the rest of the guys, and what I would say would be one of the greatest bands of all time.
Absolutely.
That original band, I mean, you know, the musicianship was so high, and it was so colorful, you know. I mean, there were so many different flavors that were thrown into that band. You know, you had Latin, you know, music mixed with rock and
blues,
you know,
and psychedelia,
blues and jazz and all kinds of stuff. It was just very, you know, wide open melting pot for music.
Carlos, you're absolutely right. It was a melting pot sound, and still maintains that in the Santana band. You had a good rapport with Carlos, even opening for him with the early Journey, correct?
Oh yeah, and we're actually talking right now to him. I know management is talking to his management. We're trying to possibly get together with him next year and do a tour together.
Oh, wow, a Journey Santana tour?
Mm-hmm.
That would be huge. That would really, in 2005.
It would definitely be fun.
Neal, if you guys you cannot overlook Honolulu on that tour. You've been very good to us and brought the band back now twice in 2 years. I got to put in an advance request. If you do the tour with Santana, guys got to come back out.
Absolutely.
And my good friend Carter Allen. Do you know Carter Allen? He's the midday guy and music director in Boston at ZLX, and he does that syndicated show Current Classics.
Yeah.
He's a huge Journey fan, and was telling.
Hold on a second. My dog's going, Bruno, chill. Bruno, shh, quiet.
What kind of dog?
He's a mini bull terrier, like the Spud dog.
Bruno.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've got like 3 bulldogs. I've got like a mini Spud dog, and I've got an English bulldog and a little French bulldog.
And what are the names besides Bruno?
Well, you got Mia is the English bulldog, and then Domino is the little French bulldog.
Bruno, Mia, Domino. I dig it. I like the names. So anyway, Carter was telling me all kinds of stories when I told him I was going to be speaking to you, and I heard you actually got to sit in. I mean, you have so many amazing stories, Neal, but I heard that you actually got to sit in with Derek and the Dominoes one time. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
What's that all about?
Well, you know, I'd met Clapton the night before in the studio with Santana. He had just like stopped by, you know, I guess he got into town a day earlier, and he was a big fan of the Santana band and Carlos, and so he stopped by the studio. We were in there jamming, working on some new material for the 3rd record, and he just kind of walks in, and I'm like, oh my God, you know? I'm trying not to be like too floored and act like an idiot. You know? I was completely just like blown away. This guy was one of my mentors, you know.
Sure.
That I, you know, highly looked up to and learned so much from him, listening to him play for all the years. You know, all the Cream stuff. I mean, that was really one of the things that helped me learn how to improvise when I first started, you know, playing. After I was playing for about 3 years, you know, the Cream and Hendrix and all that stuff, they just kind of like opened my brain up and it got me going. And so anyway, we're sitting there playing, and the night ends, and it was a really cool jam, and I still got it on tape. And I show up to the studio the next day, and the secretary told me that he had called and wanted me to go play with him that night at Berkeley Community Theater. Well, I don't even have a driver's license yet, or a car, and so I talked her into driving me over there, and she dropped me off, and I got there like about 5 minutes before they went on stage. And he was like, oh, great, you made it. He says, you know, let me get the set going. We'll do like about 5 or 6 tunes, and then I'll introduce you as a good friend of mine, and you come on and you just play the whole rest of the show with me. And I'm like, fine, okay.
Man.
And it was a night that I'll never forget. Definitely, it was very cool.
Damn, dude. And out you went. And how much stage time did it end up being you out there?
I played for more than half the show.
So like over an hour of time out there?
It was like, I think I played for about 45 minutes, something like that.
Damn, dude. And did he ask you to work with those dudes or something at the time?
Afterwards, I guess he liked my performance with him. You know, I think he recognized his own playing in my playing, because I had ripped off so much stuff from him as a kid. You know, and so I was playing a lot of his stuff. When he'd turn to me and he'd say solo, I was playing a lot of his stuff and then mixing it up with my own stuff, you know. And I think he liked the fact he wanted a second guitarist because Dwayne Allman had, you know, passed away in that tragic motorcycle accident. And Dwayne was, I guess, going to do the tour with him before that. And so, you know, it was a tough decision, you know. He took me back to his hotel after the gig and, you know, basically asked me if I would move to England and wanted me to go on tour with him and all that. And I, you know, I had been hanging out with the Santana guys, the brothers, for, you know, about 5 months now. So I knew the band much better. I didn't think I was quite ready to move to England, you know, even though it would have been a trip. You know, had I not gotten the offer from Santana the next day, believe me, I would have been on a plane and I would have jumped.
You had Eric Clapton take you back to his hotel and sit there and one-on-one try to convince you to move to England and join his band.
Yeah, and then he asked me, he goes, who do you listen to? And I go, man, I listen to a lot of you. And he would not believe me, so I picked up his acoustic guitar and I played him like note for note, I think, every like little tidbit that he did in Crossroads. And I think at that point he realized that I really knew his stuff, you know.
What a great memory.
Yeah.
Damn, Neal. You're a prince for sharing that, man. I'm sure a lot of your fans.
I've been asked that story a zillion times, you know. It's just one of those stories that keep on popping up.
I know, and you're very honorable for telling it, because it'll mean a lot to the people who just got to experience it. And in addition to those, I saw those two Journey shows when you were here in 2002, and I believe I saw you at another all-star kind of thing. It was in I was working, the stations I was at Westwood One was a part of our thing, and we were covering Woodstock '94.
Oh, right, with Paul Rogers.
Yeah, and wasn't that with wasn't Jason on the drums or something?
Jason Bonham, right.
And it was you, it was Paul Rogers and Jason Bonham. Is there someone else I'm missing in that?
You know, I'm trying to remember who was in the band. It was at the point where Paul he was changing the band a lot. You know, I had put together a trio for him that we toured, extensively for 2 years before that with the drummer I'm playing with now, Dean Casanova, and Todd Jensen, this bass player that I was in this band called Hardline with. And so I basically took the rhythm section and we went out with Paul and we had a slamming band. But then, you know, we were touring and we were in Europe and just beginning our tour in Germany, and we had a very bad car crash on the Autobahn.
Ooh.
And Todd's leg was really messed up. I mean, his bones were like hanging out the side. And, you know, busted collarbones. I don't know how I did it, but this van we were in, had no seatbelts, and it was packed with luggage and all kinds of stuff. And we're bombing down the Autobahn, and you know, things just kind of stop all of a sudden.
Man.
And you know, he slammed on the brakes. We got hit from the back, and the thing tipped over, rolled down this hill. I thought the thing was going to explode, but we had just filled up with petrol. So, you know, I guess, you know, I was thinking to myself, this thing's going to explode. There's so much gas in this van right now, but that's the only thing that kept it from exploding, I think, is the fact that it was really full. But you know, we get done rolling around this hill, and I've got all these bags on top of me, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, my God, you know, everybody's really hurt. And I climb out of the thing, and I look at myself, and I've got, like, not one scratch on me. And I'm like, I can't believe this.
You're so lucky.
But needless to say, that was the end of the tour. And, you know, then Paul had, you know, reformed and put a different band together, and that was the one with Jason. And they had a different bass player before the gig. And then right before the gig, Paul had his original bass player from Free come out and played the show. Which he's a great player, but, you know, it wasn't rehearsed enough. I remember it was a catastrophe that day. My equipment was, like, all busted. It arrived at Woodstock. It was, like, hellacious storms. And, you know, I remember I went to plug into my stuff on stage and nothing worked. So I had to basically, like, you know, just borrow some stuff and plug into it. It was not one of my better concerts with him. And it would have to be the one that they film, right?
Yeah. Well, at least you're honest about it and stuff, and it's great to hear you. You know, it's a very down to earth appraisal of doing the gig. Jason Bonham, what a ferocious drummer.
Yeah, Jason's really slamming. You know, I don't think he's his dad, but
yeah, he's different
blood,
kind of dude.
You know.
Yeah, different kind of cat. I just had Kansas's Kerry Livgren on, by the way. I'd be remiss if I didn't say he said to say hello to you.
Oh, cool. Tell him I said hello.
I will. And do you want to give a plug to the side project? I'm very curious about it. At least this Soul Circus thing.
Everybody can actually, you can The record, I've got two new CDs coming out, one of which I think is going to come out before the other, and it's a new band that I put together, and it's called Soul Circus.
Yeah.
And Circus is spelled Sarkus. And if you go on our website right now, to soulcircus.com, you can pull up, we've got like 11 MP3s, 2-minute MP3s of the 11 songs that are on the CD. And it's pretty slamming stuff. I got to admit that this is a really great band. And I'm looking real forward to going out with these guys and playing possibly in the winter while Journey is off. And then, I'll go out in the summer with Journey. But it's an amazing band. I think it's a really pretty amazing record. And we're getting pretty, if you go on there and you read the reviews from people, we've had, in the first month when we stuck our site up, we had over 100,000 hits in the first month.
Wow.
And now it's up close to 500,000. And people just keep on writing in, and the fan base is so strong right now that I was able to cut a deal with Warner Brothers to where, we're not signed to a major label, but they are going to service everybody on our website and basically sell the record all around the world because we have fans from all over the world writing in. And basically they're going to package the CD and take the credit card transactions and send them out all over the world.
What a good deal!
Yeah,
that works out good for you. That's an ingenious way of doing the business.
And actually, we're making some decent money on the CD too, to where bands usually don't. It's like always like the record label and the record stores that make all the money, and the band gets peanuts.
Right.
So this way, we actually make some change where everybody can make a living.
No, that's and who else isn't somebody else? Is Dean or something in that, or?
Yeah, Dean is in that as well with me, and there's Marco Mendoza on bass, who is just an outstanding, extraordinarily talented bass player and lead singer. He plays pretty much any kind of thing that you want to play. He can play jazz, fusion, Latin, rock, whatever. The guy is just a monster. So him and Dean in the rhythm section are completely sick, and I think anybody that goes on there and listens to just the bass and the drums are going to go, oh, my God. And the singer is very, very strong. His name is Jeff Scott Soto.
Yeah, that dude, yeah.
And he's been around for years. He has got it going on, man. He's got such a strong voice, and definitely the type of voice, once you hear it a few times, you'll know it's him.
He sung with Yngwie.
Yeah, in the 80s he was with Yngwie.
Yeah, I remember that. And didn't that Marco dude, was he not Nugent's bassist recently?
He was with Nugent for a while, and he's in Europe with Whitesnake.
Okay, right, yeah.
He's like really high in demand, but I know this is number one on his list. His band is, because he knows how good it is.
I had heard this buzz like you guys were going to open some gigs with Van Halen earlier in the summer.
Well, Sam and Mike had agreed that it was cool, and then it was run by Ed, and I don't think Alex was opposed to it either, but Ed didn't want to know about it for whatever reason. I used to be friends with this guy, and we hung out a lot in L.A., and for some reason he doesn't like me right now. I think it's the aftermath of, this band, Soul Circus, that I put together was sort of the aftermath of Planet Us.
With Michael.
The band I was doing with Michael.
And Sammy.
And Sammy and Joe Satriani and Dean and myself. And so I think Ed was pissed off at me that I was going to take Sam and Mike. But these guys had not done anything for years, and they were looking for something to do. I think if anything, he should be like digging me more now for getting him off his butt and getting him playing again.
And you know what else, Neal? I think, it's just my personal opinion that I'll add to it, I think that, I don't know if he really wants to have to go on the stage after you finish up,
Oh, you know what? Eddie Van Halen is Eddie Van Halen. He is a monster guitar player. He always will be. True. And, I don't think he had anything to worry about. Do I think that we would have done well? Yes. But I don't think he had anything to worry about.
Yeah, no, I don't either. But I couldn't imagine why those gigs didn't happen, because I was excited to hear some reports about it, because anytime you hit the stage, I like knowing about what's going on, and that's certainly interesting to hear your appraisal of it.
We were definitely disappointed. It would have been a great launching pad for us here in the States, but you know what? This band is like I said, it's so tight and good that it's going to happen, I believe, for us no matter which way it happens, I think that the way for us to go right now is to go make some noise in Europe. I'd like to go to Europe first and then come play the States.
Then bring it here afterwards.
Yeah.
Like a lot of folks do. And Neal, before we wrap this up, Red 13, that's the most recent CD of new stuff.
It's not that recent, too. I believe
it's 2 years old now, right?
3 years old now.
3 years old.
And it was pretty much of an experiment. You know, it was the first time that we were not, signed up with Sony or CBS. Our contract had run out, and we decided not to sign again. So we wanted to stick something out, like right quick, just to try to find out, how we should market the thing. We tried some TV advertisement. We tried radio advertisement. We tried magazine advertisement. And so it was sort of a little learning tool for us, and that's why it was an EP and not a full-length CD. And we really didn't spend that much time on it. I really believe I was talking to the guys when we finished the third leg of our tour that we just got off in the States, and I was saying, I think that it's much better than it sounds like. I mean, Jonathan and myself mixed the record, and I think that, I would like to give it to somebody like the guy, John Ellis, that mixed the Soul Circus record. The record sounds really, really strong. I'd love to just give it to him, have him remix it so that it could be at least be represented the way that I think it should sound,
Right, like the vision in your head that you have.
Right.
Yeah. And in store in terms of the future beyond that, is there any plans when this road outing is done?
Absolutely. When we get back, when we finish in Hawaii, I'm going to New York. I've got some stuff to do. I've got a new guitar coming out with Gibson this year with my name on it, and they've actually let me redesign the Les Paul a bit. And so this guitar sounds amazing. I can't even tell you. Well, you'll see it when we come to Hawaii.
Yeah.
I've got like the first 3 prototypes right now, but I'm going to New York to see Les because he's a friend of mine. And go sit in and play with him. I want to show him the guitar. And I'm trying to get Gibson right now into the concept of having Les Paul strangle me in a magazine ad. Like, what the F did you do to my guitar?
That's a good bit.
Yeah.
I like that. Maybe you can get him to go on the Rock and Roll Holiday Escape Cruise, Neal.
I'm coming in the day before we're playing it, and then I'm out.
That thing looks outrageous. I was taking a look at that online. Your cruise that you're doing?
I've been on a cruise before, and it was not my favorite thing to do.
You're going to be a busy boy. 7 nights, it looks like. Meet and greets, photo opportunities.
It's only going to be 1 day for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, is that how it works?
Well, I think some guys are going, but I think we're just going on.
Doing your thing and leaving.
I think we're going to do some meet and greets. We will do that, and some photos, and play our show and split.
So you're not going to do the whole 7 days?
Oh, no. Not my thing, man.
That's great.
The other record I want to tell you about,
Please.
I've got a record coming out on Steve Vai's label, Favored Nations, and we've been playing it. We play it as walk-in music and walk-out music to our show every night. So when people are listening to it, while they're sitting down waiting for our show to begin, that's my new record. It's an instrumental record. It's got some very cool stuff on it. It's called capital I on capital U.
And it's a solo Neal.
Yeah.
And it's on Steve Vai's label.
Yeah.
Wow. And when's the release on that?
He said he's going to put it out in February.
That's good to know about. And so when folks are coming into the arena, that's what's playing, and when they leave.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Dig that. And again, the name of it?
It's called I on You.
Cool, man. And finally, Neal, no more questions. I just love to put this buzz in your ear. I'd hope that you would consider allowing me to stop by before or after the show with a little mini disc recorder and do a super quick face-to-face interview with you. You think that would be possible?
Sure, no problem.
I really do appreciate getting to speak to the great Neal Schon of Journey. He is our guest here. Tickets are on sale now for the show tomorrow night at the Blaisdell Arena, as we are proud to welcome Journey back through. Get them at the Blaisdell box office, at Ticketmaster, or at Times Supermarket locations that have Ticketmasters. And it is a great pleasure to have had you here on 105.9 The Big Kahuna, Neal.
Great to be here, Dave.
Thank you so much, Neal.
All right, well, I'll see you when we get there.
I look forward to it.
Okay, Dave.
Thanks again, Neal.
Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Okay, buddy. Aloha, everybody. This is Neal Schon from Journey, and you got your radio tuned to a guy that's really worth listening to, Dave Lawrence.